Soil with the best fertilizers for future prosperity. Call us today and learn how Mavuno Fertilizers is helping in increasing food production in Africa.
The super efficient Jiko Koa requires half the charcoal of other Jikos, so you use less fuel and receive immediate savings. Enjoy our special offer now and save 1,000 Kenya shillings with every purchase. Jiko Koa, Kenya's #1 saving Jiko.
My name is Tom Gishohe. I'm the Executive Director for the Association of Kenya Insurers. We have changed the mode of delivering our motor insurance certificates from physical to digital. The motor insurance certificate has not changed. What has actually changed is the mode of delivery of the certificate from physical to digital. Now, the moment you receive the digital certificate, the next thing that you need to do is to get it printed using a color printer, cut it along the dotted line, and stick it on your windscreen. In the event that you would like to verify the genuineness of the certificate, what you need to do is to dial *352#. You can also download the Aki app onto your phone and use the app to verify the genuineness of the certificate. If by any chance you happen to sell your motor vehicle, it will be important that you contact your insurance company for cancellation of the certificate that you're holding. Otherwise, the buyer, the new owner of the motor vehicle will not be able to access insurance and insurance certificate until that process is completed.
This is NTV.
Thank you for joining us tonight. In its simplest definition, democracy is the rule of the people or the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The concept is supposed to guide how Kenya is governed. After every election, however, one question remains unanswered. Should we have a hybrid form of democracy where the winner should not take all, citing the tribal divisions that still threaten Kenya's peace? On team coverage tonight, we break down the concept so misunderstood that in a number of instances, the political class believes in its own wisdom or folly, that the people in democracy is exclusively meaning them, the politicians. The team also offers direction as far as correcting this misunderstanding is concerned and shed light on the basic tenets of democracy. We have our team ready to rumble on this week's Team Coverage Wednesday, starting with Olive Burrows, Zainab Ismail, and Vincent Odwor and Setolale, who join me in studio, and they will be dishing out democracy in context tonight. But first, let's have a look at the highlights.
Tonight, governors vow to shut down counties, but senators are not taking it lying down.
The Senate has to date failed to pass the formula, leaving the counties no choice but to close down.
If anybody dies because they cannot access health services during this time, the blood is on their hands.
It's an impeachable offense.
It is gangsters who do not want to account for anything.
promises of white smoke amid stinging allegations.
Wengine wanapatiwa microphone wanaanza kulia. Ati nafuatwa. Sasa kama ulienda kukula pesa za watu, alafu unakosa kufanya ile kazi uliambiwa, utafanya namna gani? Si utaanza kuona watu wakikufuata usiku.
Plus, is Kenya truly democratic by word and deed, or just by title?
There are certainly areas where improvement can be made in terms of issues of civil society engagement, processes of elections.
The misuse of power is part of the problem that we have with democracy in this country.
Democracy ni ya wenye wako na kakitu.
Vyama vya kisiasa ni ya watu binafsi.
The state of democracy on this week's team coverage Wednesday. Also tonight, Suri's day in court and Oscar goes to custody.
We shall be moving immediately to the High Court for review.
7 more days in custody for the Kapseret MP, undergoing treatment as he claims to be unwell. Plus, will schools really open in October?
Whatever they come up with will be presented to us on Monday.
Final word yet to be made.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Part of our team coverage tonight is Flora Atieno in the sign language interpretation and presentation of the news. First things first, the heat on Revenue Avenue is rising. And while there is a promise of white smoke by noon tomorrow, the hope would be that smoke would be coming out of Wajiko's kitchen. However, what we have is coming off friction between political leaders. Where there is smoke, there is fire. It has been said, and sadly, it is Wananchi who are burning the most. Tomorrow, various counties are set to cut down operations, even in critical services such as healthcare. The Council of Governors has taken the national government to court. Senators are angry at the county bosses. Governors have been termed as gangsters and senators sellouts. Charity Mwangi reports on the Division of Revenue debate that has morphed into a division of politicians and dividing Wananchi from their much-needed services.
The Council of Governors is on a roll that will most likely roll out pain and loss to the counties. It may be, in their view, how they will get their way in terms of revenue reaching the counties, but the counsel from the Council of Governors may prove more detrimental. The move to suspend services, including the crucial health sector, exacerbates the state of healthcare at the counties. The counties are sick and the doctors are unwilling to administer. They are among the county officials whose salaries have suffered delays, and for the unfortunate counties, the officials have gone unpaid for months. Call it desperation or frustration, but this has led the Council of Governors to file a case against the national government.
Miezi tatu tumekaa bila shilingi yoyote. Watu walikuwa najua, hata Senate ilikuwa inajua kabisa kwamba baada ya miaka mitano hiyo formula lazima iangaziwe upya. Hiyo miaka mitano watu walikuwa wapi?
The current situation right now, where counties are being starved of money, where counties have to decide to shut down, is a shame. It's a shame to us as Kenyans. It's a shame to our constitution. It's a shame to each and every child of this country, and shame to the political elite of this country.
The county bosses are seeking the court to compel the Attorney General, the Controller of Budget, and the National Treasury to immediately release 50% of the total equitable share pending the stalled revenue allocation bill in the Senate. The governors claim that Senate has abandoned its constitutional responsibility by failing to expedite their processes. A section of National Assembly MPs have also expressed their disappointment in their Senate counterparts for failing to arrive at a working formula, sending devolution into a state of confusion.
1.5 years, Senate yetu imekuwa ikizunguka, inakataa kuagree on a very simple thing, formula. Na formula ni unapea watu zile fedha kulingana na wale watu wako katika sehemu. Let us do equity. Let us have resources to go to where the people are.
Meanwhile, the Senate today termed as illegal the move by the Council of Governors to suspend the crucial services.
It is sad that they have started with a very, very sensitive area of life, of hospitals. Instead of them saying the governors should lack salaries for this month, they wake up by saying the Wananchi should not have hospitals.
Madam Speaker, it is gangsters who do not want to account for anything. It is gangsters who believe in impunity, and it's gangsters who preach violation of law and violation of human rights.
I'm telling Governor Kibwana, if you shut down level 4 Wote and Sultan Ahmad Hospital and Makindu level 3 hospital, pursuant to a memo issued by Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, we will impeach you. It's an impeachable offense for a governor to receive a memo from another governor and shut down a hospital.
Seemingly unfazed, the Council of Governors has sent an advisory to all governors to suspend services in the counties. The chair has advised his colleagues to issue necessary notices as follows. 1. County health facilities will not permit any new inpatient admissions. They will only provide minimal outpatient services. 2. All non-essential services are hereby suspended, and county employees are advised to proceed on leave for 2 weeks.
We would like to set the record straight that the shutdown is not a decision by the chairman of the council. This follows a resolution made by the full council on 8 September 2020.
Some governors already implemented the orders last week by default as medical staff downed their tools of trade, sending patients home. While the debate rages, more suffering is expected in the counties, not just for the huge population accessing services, but also county employees who may have to go without pay for much longer. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
That is a state of our democracy. Speaking of which, team coverage tonight is dedicated to that very issue and to look at whether Kenya is a democracy. Olive Burrows starts us off.
Thank you, Mark. And that's actually my task tonight. A very simple question. Is Kenya a democratic state? Going by the definition you gave us at the start of the bulletin, simply put, a democracy is a system of government where the majority have their way, but the minority have their say. Is that an accurate definition? And is it the African way or a Western concept forced down our throats? Let's find out.
The preamble of Kenya's constitution reads, "We, the people, recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law." But what is democracy? Is it a foreign concept imposed on the rest of the world by the West, and is it one size fits all?
The basic requirement of democracy is that you are governed on the basis of your consent and that you tolerate the views of others. Even in traditional African societies, there was a lot of tolerance. That is why there were meetings. People say in Africa, people met under a tree and then they discussed and until they agreed. The discussion implies that there will be differences of opinion. And if African societies were discussing things until they reach a consensus, then really we are saying they recognize the fact that tolerance was important.
The Africans have always been democratic. If you look at, for example, where I come from, that's Meru, Kikuyu. We had what in Meru they call the Tueka. That means a generation was 15 years. After the 15th year, that entire generation surrenders all positions of leadership to the younger generation. That was a democracy.
Given this understanding, then, what is the state of democracy in Kenya? As explained by the United Nations, Tuesday's commemoration of the International Day of Democracy provided an opportunity to reflect on the state of democracy. A reflection made all the more critical by the COVID-19 pandemic. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres concerned by the democratic clawbacks made in its name.
Yet, since the beginning of the crisis, we have seen the emergency used in a range of countries to restrict democratic processes and civic space. This is especially dangerous in places where democracy's roots are shallow and the institutional checks and balances are weak.
So, how does Kenya measure up in that regard? Have Kenya's institutions shown themselves capable of safeguarding that balance of power?
Governors became so powerful, they used their power to acquire wealth, personal wealth, including in some cases wealth to their children. So the misuse of power is part of the problem that we have with democracy in this country.
The leaders equate democracy with the ability to provide people with jobs, ability to provide people with opportunities for business, sometimes illegally, because you cut the corners, you avoid the tender rules and so on. But the people themselves, they understand very well that when you go to a supermarket, you on this corner, you don't find these are Jubilee goons and they are cheaper because Jubilee in power. And this side is NASA and they're expensive. They know the economy is one. They know they will suffer the same policies, the same taxation. They know all that.
Fairly democratic is Professor Naituli's assessment, given a judiciary that was independent enough to annul a presidential election.
Whatever we say, the rule of law is very strong in this country. We can't say the things soon descend in Tanzania or Rwanda or Uganda, you'll be in a lot of trouble. So there is only one part we have not gotten right: peaceful transfer of power after every election.
Professor Wanyande's assessment, on the other hand, is that Kenya has a very long way to go for the full realization of democracy. But given that they both agree that democracy is a process and not a destination, they prescribe the same thing as Guterres: the strengthening of institutions and vigilance.
They say that speak to a man in a language he understands and it goes to his head. Speak to a man in his own language and it goes to his heart. While that is meant to be a positive, it has been exploited in the Kenya situation, as Zainab Ismail now explains.
Well, yes, Olive, unfortunately, national unity has remained elusive as every community has been made to believe that advancing its own interests instead of the collective good should be a priority. Now, with that, the fragmentation of the country along ethnic and tribal lines has been used as a catalyst for chaos. While the political elite have been accused of engaging in ethnic mobilization through political party outfits instead of de-ethnicizing the country by enhancing nationalism and patriotism. Take a look.
This moment in the country's political history revealed the extent to which tribal forces could quickly bring a country to the brink of a civil war. Lives lost, property destroyed, and thousands left internally displaced. Clashes mainly between the larger ethnic tribes, the Kikuyus, Luos and Kalenjins, erupted after Mwai Kibaki was declared the winner amidst accusations of rigging and electoral manipulation. Analysts say ethnicity per se has never been the problem. The dilemma arises when politicians use ethnicity for their personal gain and create a divide which breeds tribalism.
It is how the leaders that are elected to govern the country use ethnic groups for their own self-political interests that results in ethnicity or tribalism becoming an impediment to democracy.
Over the years, the political elite have been accused of always trying to exploit tribal loyalty to advance personal gain, parochial interests, patronage, and even cronyism.
If you look at the history of this country, especially since the introduction of multi-party politics, you see politicians organizing along ethnic lines. You see, when elections, we pretend that we are national in outlook, we pretend that we want a unified country, but when elections come, we retreat to our ethnic cocoons. A lot of the times, we blame the political elite. But unfortunately, if you look at citizens, citizens too look at this is our own. They look at a political party based on where is the leader of our tribe coming from.
The unfortunate thing today in this country is that many of the leaders begin by saying that their community is far much important than Kenya, or they begin by articulating interests of their own parochial community before they think Kenya.
Coupled with a mtu wetu culture, Kenyans have come to treat the evil of tribal politics as a norm rather than the exception.
When you threaten somebody with arrest and the person goes back to their tribe, the next political consequence is the moment you are focusing on arresting him, whether it is for graft, whether it is for murder, whether it is for other offense, you must ask yourself, do you want to lose that political support? Because the support you get is largely based on tribal arithmetics.
In the 2017 elections, ethnic voting patterns remained strong. President Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto had a strong command in Central and Rift Valley, home of the two leaders, while Nyanza and Western regions remained Raila Odinga's strongholds.
The largest or numerically large 5 groups that tend to form political parties that compete among each other, they form alliances among themselves, and in the process exclude others. And yet, in any particular country, even even a very small group matters most in a democracy.
These so-called Big Five have always had immense influence on who is elected owing to their numerical advantage. According to the latest Kenya National Bureau of Statistics survey, the largest native ethnic groups are the Kikuyu with 8.1 million people, followed by the Luya with 6.8 million people, the Kalenjin who number 6.3 million, the Luo at 5 million, and Kamba at 4.6 million people.
We may have to ask ourselves whether the kind of electoral system that we have is the best electoral system. I think improving on that electoral system so that somebody who is from El Molo can have an equal chance of being president as a Kikuyu and as a Luo is going to be fundamental. Because if elections continues being about only the Big Five tribes, then dealing with ethnic tensions is still going to be a pipe dream for the country.
With bitter contests every election cycle, the control of allocation of state resources is the core of these tensions. But the analysts say devolution is the only sure way of combating this vice.
If we make devolution work in this country, if we make devolution work, I think we would be saying kwaheri to tribalism that divides the society. People would be thinking as one society because they would know that the development of every county contributes a lot to the development of Kenya itself as a nation.
All right, and Vincent has a different perspective that may show why we are here as a nation, because for years the political party architecture could be the basis for a wrong foundation for a good democracy. Vincent?
Zainab, I couldn't have put it any better. The political center of our country cannot hold. Simply put, they have been a means to an end, with ideologies, policies and manifestos being good on paper, as the performance manifests little to nothing for the country. Don't just take my words for it. Let's journey back and look at the history.
After Kenya was made a one-party state in 1982, the subsequent pressure from pro-multi-party democracy proponents forced President Daniel Moi to allow the restoration of multi-party government in 1991 by repealing Section 2A of the old constitution that made Kenya African National Union (KANU) the only authorized party. Almost 30 years later, now Kenya has 71 fully registered political parties. Despite the seeming political party pluralism in Kenya, having the parties run largely on ideologies and policies to empower the society has become a big challenge. There has also been a high party mortality rate as old parties die and new ones emerge every electoral cycle.
It's like a vehicle, it's like a matatu that you'd get into. So long as you get to your destination, the matatu goes, or you abandon the matatu and go doing your own business. Parties should have a long life. Parties in Europe, parties in the United States, parties in other democracies have a long life. They have been on for so long because they have mobilized and galvanized the interest of the people on the basis of ideas, issues, and interests of the people, so that it doesn't matter who is leading the party will outlive an election.
Besides the Independence Party KANU, the Party for the Restoration of Democracy Party FORD was one of the earliest parties to be formed after the introduction of multi-party democracy. But due to internal wrangles, it split into FORD Kenya and FORD Asili. FORD Kenya is still standing, though barely, as it is dogged with internal wrangles. KANU has stood the test of time without splitting, but today its power has waned. Even the famous NA coalition that ended the 24-year rule of President Moi in 2002 later disintegrated to other political parties. To date, that has largely been the norm. But the politics towards Kenya's independence is said to have turned the parties to legitimized tribal groupings.
Since independence, in fact even before independence, political parties in our country were actually ethnicized. And again, it was a deliberate move by the colonialists to divide and rule. And therefore, we could have a political party, Kikuyu Central Association, Kamba Central Association. They became regional organizations. They never wanted us to have political parties actually that were uniting everyone, meaning they are not essentially ethnic groupings, but they are following a trend that we should move out of.
The Political Parties Act in Kenya sought to enable political parties to get funds from public resources so as to secure their independence from individuals. But to date, parties in Kenya still have owners who are said to stifle internal party democracy.
But what we see today in our country is that still various individuals who have big monies are funding political parties and therefore dominating in the decisions made by political parties and in essence personalizing the political parties. The personalization of political parties is the greatest danger. Financing elections is a major problem. We have seen people bribing voters, and also that actually damages political parties. So
the political parties have become vehicles of convenience that are abandoned soon after reaching the destination. It will take a very conscious electorate to deliberately go against the ingrained culture of voting based on mere tribal lines. Vincent Odur, NTV.
And history, as they say, repeats itself. Seth Olale will tell us after the break if there is any hope for the future of democracy in Kenya.
Get fresh, gotta get fresh.
Down is no boom boom pow, down is boom boom pow. Smells baya na uchafuzi na zibina improve down is protect nguo zangu na nukia niko safi. Lazima niwe fresh na down is boom boom pow. Boom boom pow, down is no boom boom pow. Smells zote na zi boom boom pow. Powerful freshness, down is boom boom pow.
Happy anniversary. Mbona hii mabati kina dad na mam bado inakaa mpya? Na hii nyumba imekuwa hapa for so many years. Na pia umelelewa hapa.
Wow, imagine hata nilikuwa sija notice. Rufus, wewe ni fundi wangu wa miaka mingi sana. Haya mabati yatadumu kweli? Huyu kijana nilimwambia anunue mabati ya Dumuzas.
Usibahatishe mabati. Hakikisha umeangalia alama za kudhibitisha Dumuzas halisi. Chagua Dumuzas, mabati inayodumu kudumu. Isitoshe, Dumuzas ndio mabati pekee inayokuja na warranty.
Sitaki tena kubahatisha.
Mabati inayodumu kudumu.
Over the past few months, our country has stood together to keep the COVID numbers down. Every day, new numbers tell us the same story, that we never let what we can't do come in the way of what we can. Let's keep going.
Devki Steel Mills have provided quality building material with the widest range of associated steel products over the last 3 decades. Look for the Devki mark on a widest selling reinforcement, twisted and TMT rebars, which are KBS certified and have the diamond mark of quality. Devki Steel, Kenya's most trusted steel company.
Karatina University wishes to announce to all new and continuing students that lectures of the first semester of the 2020-2021 academic year are ongoing. New students' university joining instructions and details on creation of e-learning account for all students are on the university website. Payment of requisite fees is a requirement. For more information, visit our website on www.karu.ac.ke or contact us on the details on your screen. Karatina University, inspiring innovation and leadership.
We all are looking for products to protect ourselves from viruses, but not all products protect us. Did you know that using Dettol soap and water protects against viruses? Many viruses are surrounded by an envelope with receptors that enable them to enter a human cell and cause infection. Dettol soap destroys the outer layer of the virus and effectively removes it. Protect your family from the spread of viruses with Dettol. Dettol cleans and is now tested and proven to be effective against COVID-19 virus. This has been Medivax for Dettol.
The Dettol range is available on Jumia. Shop safely and conveniently today.
He died of a heart attack! Can you stop pretending that you're not capable of killing him? So Godfather, do I have to wait until you have me killed as well?
Authorities entered this facility, which Attorney Gael Del Mundo claims to be storage for many illegal weapons. However, the authorities found no evidence that will support the accusation.
Don't tell me Dad's getting away again!
Xander, what about the witnesses you talked to? The ones Montemayor told you about?
They won't talk anymore. They're all scared of what Salvador can do to them.
Welcome to Garden of Joy in Machakos by Optivan. This is a gated community that is strategically located only 7 minutes drive from Komata. The title deeds are ready. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Welcome back to tonight's team coverage focusing on the state of democracy in Kenya. Well, on the continent, Kenya is not among the top 10 countries in upholding democracy. As you're about to see, it is not so much that the country has not topped the list, but that there are examples to draw from on how the future of democracy can look like. All is not lost.
To His Excellency the President.
To stand out as one of the world's leading democratic states, Kenya would do well to adopt and implement the 3 pillars of governance of the United Nations. According to the United Nations Development Programme, which was part of Kenya's 2010 constitution modeling, in order for democracy to be fully realized, there ought to be access to justice, human rights, and gender equality among citizens, strengthening of devolution, peace, security, and cohesion. Although Kenya has moved from position 19 to 11 in the Africa Democracy Index with a rating of 5.19 compared to previous 8.0, UNDP resident representative in Kenya, Walid Badawi, reiterates that the country should fill in some of the loopholes in governance that undermine democracy.
I think there are certainly areas where improvement can be made in terms of issues of civil society engagement, issues of accountability of government institutions, effectiveness and efficiency in the administration of public institutions. Processes of elections need to be much more issue-based as opposed to looking at ethnic and other ways of generating support for platforms.
I am glad to inform Kenyans that I have today assented to the bills as a sign of my commitment to political reforms.
The hybrid democracy system, where the winner does not take it all, is viewed by the world body as a solution to issues regarding inclusivity and marginalization.
Really, it is for individual countries to determine how to bring in opposition in government structures through cabinet appointments and other forms of government to ensure that you have a fully representative government that is able to deliver on the needs, especially when you have very tightly contested and very closely fought electoral results.
According to political commentator Alutalala Mukwana, the solution to having effective democracy lies with implementing Agenda 4 of the 2010 Constitution that addresses issues of inequalities.
It addresses the issue of land, it addresses the issue of historical injustices, inequalities, and so forth. The revenue sharing stalemate in the Senate now is reflective of the inequalities that Agenda 4 sought to address.
Attaining the desirable democratic space in the country is an uphill task.
Within the system, right from independence, are leaders, are operatives who stand to benefit from the old status quo as it was, from the status quo ante, the status quo that it was before the opening up of the space. And it is these established operatives who keep throwing roadblocks in the way of the growth of democracy.
For a more democratic country, it is imperative that Kenya assumes an apologetic and deliberate stance. It will only be driven by sticking to the rule of law, with public participation and transparent electoral process being crucial momentum builders towards an egalitarian dispensation.
People, Kenyans, what their views are in regard to Kenya being democratic. Here's what they say.
Kulingana na katiba ya Kenya, Kenya ni nchi ya kidemokrasia. Lakini kulingana na matendo na vile hiyo sheria inafuatwa, Kenya hakuna demokrasia.
Hii mambo ya demokrasia tunasikianga tu Kenya is a democratic country. Na tunajua kila mtu hivyo. Lakini demokrasia ni ya wenye wako na kakitu. Sisi wajiko wenye tuko huku chini, hiyo ni kitu hatuwezi jua ni ya nini hiyo. Kwa sababu uko ina kakitu, hata ukisema kitu hakuna kitu inaweza fuatwa.
To some extent there is democracy at lower levels, but at the national level I doubt if we have democracy.
Demokrasia ipo. Na tumai tangu tupate uhuru, hata kama tumekuwa na zile changamoto ambazo zinatuadhiri kama nchi, lakini tumejaribu mtu kiendelea kusonga kukuwa na demokrasia.
Yes, there is democracy, but we are misusing democracy.
Hakuna demokrasia. Demokrasia nilikuwa naijua ni mtu anaweza zungumza vitu yote namna yanaona. Lakini sasa demokrasia ya Kenya unaona ukizungumzia kitu mzuri unapata huko nyuma kuna matatizo.
Hakuna demokrasia, hata kwa uchaguzi hakuna demokrasia. IBC ni kama mtu mmoja ndiye anaongoza. Nomination hivyo hivyo. Hakuna demokrasia in Kenya.
Bado hawajatuletea hiyo kitu inaitwa demokrasia Kenya bado. Najua angekuwa anajaribu kuleta kitu kama ili hata sisi wananchi tukue tunaweza ongelea, lakini sasa hii hatuna. Mafuta ndio hiyo sasa hii. Ukienda kwa petroli imeongezwa. Huko juu wanatangaza corona. Sasa tunashangaa tutafanya namna gani? Tukiongea ni kama unapigia mbuzi gitaa.
Sasa mahali kwa demokrasi hii hatuna Kenya. Kwa uchaguzi hatuna Kenya. Kenya unasikia hatu wengine wamekaa mahali ndio wanachagua viongozi wa Kenya.
Well, that's all we have for tonight's team coverage, but remember to stay tuned. Next week, same place, same time. Now I hand you over to our main anchor tonight, Mark Masai, who's not our CAV reporter tonight. Mark, over to you.
Seth, you know what they say, save the best for last. I'm not too sure this was the case for team coverage, but well played, and to the team, well covered on the state of democracy. Not quite something to smile about, but you've ended us on a hopeful note that there is hope for a better democracy. To other developments of the day, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi will remain in police custody for 7 more days to allow the prosecution to conclude investigations. The decision by court has, however, not been received well among political leaders allied to the vocal legislator who have vowed to challenge the decision by appealing at the High Court. Ruth Sarmue tells us more.
What do you mean? The decision by Nakuru Chief Magistrate Josephat Kalo to detain Sudi for 7 more days came as a shock to his counterparts and sympathizers who were hoping for his release on bail. Sudi's lawyers have vowed to escalate the matter at the High Court.
We wish to confirm that we shall be moving immediately to the High Court for review. Not necessarily for Honorable Sudi's case, but most importantly for posterity and to set the law right in this country. Because today it may be Honorable Sudi, tomorrow it could be any of you, including you members of the press. So it's important that we set this clearly.
Meanwhile, the MP's request to continue seeking medical attention has been granted.
14th of September, you gave an order that the suspect's respondent hearing be taken to hospital. Your Honor, he was then admitted and has not been discharged officially from hospital. He was only given a temporary discharge to attend this this court session today. Your Honor, in those circumstances, we are praying for an extension of that order.
By Friday, 25th of September, the prosecution is expected to have completed the investigation so that Sudi's case can officially begin. The police are expected to carry out forensic investigations on the ownership of the gun that was confiscated from Sudi's vehicle. They are also expected to record statements from witnesses. Sudi surrendered himself to the Langas police station on Sunday before he was later transferred to Nakuru Central Police Station. The police, through the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, had preferred 5 charges against the legislator. The charges include hate speech, resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer, being in possession of an illegal firearm, and offensive conduct. Ruth Sarmui, NTV.
From the courts, we get into a break. Business News is up next.
We all are looking for products to protect ourselves from viruses, but not all products protect us. Did you know that using Dettol soap and water protects against viruses? Many viruses are surrounded by an envelope with receptors that enable them to enter a human cell and cause infection. Dettol soap destroys the outer layer of the virus and effectively removes it. Protect your family from the spread of viruses with Dettol. Dettol cleans and is now tested and proven to be effective against COVID-19 virus. This has been Medivax for Dettol.
The Dettol range is available on Jumia. Shop safely and conveniently today.
Hello? Dude, United on fire. United? Rashford is unstoppable. Tell me you have DSTV, Eddie. Do you know that I get more than 20 live matches on any given week from the best leagues in the world? La Liga, Serie A, the Champions League, the Premier League. Oh, what about that? Do you have Premier League? No, we don't have that. Eddie, if you're going to spend your money, spend it on the best football in the world.
Dial *423# to buy a DSTV HD decoder for only 1,999 shillings.
Ah, Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I've been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes.
To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic's thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
For more than 10 years now, One Acre Fund has worked with farmers across Kenya to give them access to quality seeds, fertilizer, and farming inputs through affordable financing options. To find out how you too can join the 1 Acre Fund program, dial *689#. 1 Acre Fund. Mkulima Kwanza.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Get fresh, gotta get fresh.
Down is no boom boom pow, Downy boom boom pow. Smells baya na uchafuzi na zidi na improve Downy. Protect nguo zangu na nukia niko safi. Lazima niwe fresh na Downy's boom boom pow. Boom boom pow, Downy's new boom boom pow. Smells zote na zi boom boom pow. Powerful freshness, Downy's boom boom pow.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Time for business. And international tourist arrivals dropped by 65% globally during the first half of the year, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. The drop by 2/3 is attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has hit the tourism and aviation industries the hardest. In June alone, international tourist arrivals dropped by a whopping 93%. When compared to the same month last year. The UNWTO estimates the loss in tourism revenue at $460 billion globally and puts the number of international arrivals lost at 440 million. The monetary loss is about 5 times the loss in international tourism receipts recorded back in 2009 following the global financial and economic crisis. The Law Society of Kenya is calling on the National Assembly to reject the National Aviation Management Bill 2020, which, among other things, seeks to nationalize Kenya Airways and merge it with the Kenya Airports Authority. In a paid-up ad, LSK says that the bill raises significant legal issues which, if not addressed, will be detrimental to the aviation industry. The Society has enumerated 12 issues pertaining to the bill which strengthen the case for it to be done away with. Among them are the obscure process of nationalization, the lack of a feasibility study, corrupt practices and bad governance, as well as management challenges at KQ. LSK joins the Kenya Association of Air Operators in calling for the bill to be shelved, alleging that it has been taken before lawmakers without public participation. Meanwhile, a number of senators have accused the Attorney General of misleading the president when it comes to the process that was used to establish the Kenya Transport and Logistics Network, KTLN. The senators now say that the directive by the president to have the Kenya Ports Authority, the Kenya Pipeline Company and the Kenya Railways Corporation managed by the ICDC board is misguided and will not yield the desired results. They say that Parliament ought to have been involved in setting up KTLN.
The president is not getting proper legal advice. How do you take a parastatal, a giant parastatal like KPA, and put it under ICDC, a dying parastatal?
Kitu cha kwanza alichokosea rais kisheria ni kwamba hakukuwa na majadiliano na wananchi wanaoishi katika ile eneo. KPA, Bwana Spika, imekuwa ndio tegemeo kubwa kwa watu wa pwani. Na ni jambo la kusikitisha ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, anaendelea kugandamiza watu wa pwani, hususan kiuchumi.
I keep on saying we've made so many steps forward, but now we are making them quickly backward. Mr. Speaker, sir, we talk about having a democracy in this country, but it is now a pure dictatorship. And it is a shame that a legal brain that we have of the Attorney General can actually sit down there and see this happening.
Tanzania's Civil Aviation Authority, TCAA, has reopened the country's skies to Kenyan Airlines with immediate effect. This follows the removal of the 14-day mandatory quarantine for all passengers from Tanzania that Kenya had imposed. Kenya Airways, Fly 540, Safari Link Aviation and Air Kenya Express can now resume their flights to Tanzanian destinations. In a statement, TCAA's Director General Hamza Johari says that Tanzania will strive to adhere to the principles of the Chicago Convention of 1944, as well as bilateral air service agreements between the two states. That's where we land the business bulletin. More to come after the break.
Mavuno Fertilizers, a soil and crop-specific fertilizer in Kenya, helps improve food security by improving crop yields through application of scientifically researched, nutrition-based fertilizers. More than 500,000 farmers in Kenya can have easy access at affordable packs of 1 kg to 50 kg across major agro-dealers. Farmers who have used Mavuno Fertilizers have realized 30% more yield. Please feed your crop and soil with the best fertilizers for future prosperity. Call us today and learn how Mavuno Fertilizers is helping in increasing food production in Africa.
Melissa? Mom, it's Dad's birthday today. I'm giving him a party just like he gives me.
Nothing makes a mother more proud than seeing her child growing up. But I know that as she learns to care for others, she'll face even more germs and the risk of illnesses.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection. Just 1 cup of Dettol protects your home and family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
The Dettol range is available on Jumia. Shop safely and conveniently today.
The county government of Kajiado, with the approval of His Excellency Joseph Olelenku, would like to notify all landowners in Kajiado County to take advantage of the ongoing 100% waiver on outstanding land rates penalties, which will end on 15 September 2020. The county government will institute the necessary measures to recover all unpaid rates and penalties. Payments should be made through the respective sub-county offices or through a banker's check or direct transfers.
Come over. Wacha nikupikie kishef Ramzi.
Rena vegetable oil stays liquid to the last drop, so it's smooth cooking from start to finish. Now with an easy-to-pour cap, mapishi poa, madishi poa.
Moi University would like to inform all first years that online registration and orientation for the first year's 2020 and 2021 class is ongoing. Visit www.firstyears.mu.ac.ke to register. Online classes will begin on Monday 21st September 2020. Qualified candidates are also informed that online application for the September 2020 and January 2021 intakes in our various degree, postgraduate and diploma programs is ongoing. Apply now. Visit our website www.mu.ac.ke and click on the admissions link to select your desired course and follow the guidelines to complete application. For more inquiries, contact us on 0790-940508 or admissions@mu.ac.ke. Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
Wakenya, hii fight hatukuchagua, lakini tuko na choice. Tuchague kujilinda. Tuchague kuprotect familia zetu. Tuchague usafi. Kuosha mikono. Kuosha manyumba zetu.
ndio tulinde watoto wetu na tuvae mask. Future yetu iko mikononi mwetu. Kenya, let's do it for the ones we love.
The Dettol range is available on Jumia. Shop safely and conveniently today.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has said the government will make a decision on the appropriate date of reopening schools after receiving a report from a team of experts appointed to look into the matter. The CAS has called on Kenyans to be patient and allow the government to put in place necessary precautionary measures before reopening of schools. This comes after reports that schools may be open in October.
He's an intellectual statesman of incomparable abilities, not only for this country, but internationally. It is people like Kipchoge that our children must emulate and see.
And from class or the prospects of class soon or later, we get into the sports after the break with Aida Waringa.
In the event that you would like to verify the genuineness of the certificates, what you need to do is to dial *352#. You can also download the Aki app onto your phone. If by any chance you happen to sell your motor vehicle, it will be important that you contact your insurance company for cancellation of the certificate that you're holding.
Top dressing tea. Avoid top dressing during heavy rains as it will be eroded away. Weeding should be done before top dressing to ensure they don't regrow.
More than 500,000 farmers in Kenya can have easy access at affordable packs of 1 kg to 50 kg across major agro-dealers. Farmers who have used Mavuno fertilizers have realized 30% more yield. Please feed your crop and soil with the best fertilizers for future prosperity. Call us today and learn how Mavuno fertilizers is helping in increasing food production in Africa.
Best quality KEBS certified steel. TMT steel bars. Produced from the most modern machines and technology. Reliable and with the highest strength. Suitable for all types of construction. That is, high-rise buildings, bridges, houses and roads.
Look for the Devki mark on a wider selling reinforcement, twisted and TMT rebars, which are KBS certified and have the diamond mark of quality. Devki Steel, Kenya's most trusted steel company.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
That is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
When you buy a bar of Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate, you can help change the story. That's because we will use part of the proceeds to donate milk to less fortunate children across our beautiful country. Let us come together and show the generous spirit that is inside of all of us. Cadbury Dairy Milk. There's a glass and a half in everyone.
He died of a heart attack.
Can you stop pretending that you're not capable of killing him? So, Godfather, do I have to wait until you have me killed as well?
Authorities entered this facility, which Attorney Gael Del Mundo claims to be storage for many illegal weapons. However, the authorities found no evidence that will support the accusation.
Don't tell me Dad's getting away again!
Xander, what about the witnesses you talked to? The ones Montemayor told you about?
They won't talk anymore. They're all scared of what Salvador can do to them.
Welcome to Garden of Joy in Machacos by Optivan. This is a gated community that is strategically located only 7 minutes drive from Komata. The title deeds are ready. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
NTV Sport in association with Showmax.
A very good Wednesday evening to you, and run for a healthy lifestyle, but read books for a healthy mind. Those are not my words, but those of marathon world record holder Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge said this during a groundbreaking ceremony of the Dr. Eliud Kipchoge Library that's to be constructed in his former primary school in Kapsisiwa in Nandi County. Kipchoge, of course, was bestowed with 2 honorary degrees in 2019. The Laikipia University conferred an honorary degree of Doctor of Science, and the University of Exeter in the UK accorded him an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. The construction is courtesy of President Uhuru Kenyatta's promise to Kipchoge after the Marathon King became the first human to run a marathon in under 2 hours during the Ineos 159 Challenge in October 2019.
Preston is really a great host, a very great host. However, it came as a surprise when he asked me what I wanted from him as an appreciation. And the answer I gave him is the reason we are here today.
He is an intellectual statesman of incomparable abilities, not only for this country, but internationally. It is people like Kipchoge that our children must emulate and see.
Following the Sports Disputes Tribunal's clearance for the Football Kenya Federation elections to go ahead as planned, candidates are back on the campaign trail. The elections will start with the county exercise set for September 19th before the national polls scheduled for October 17th, 2020.
Na right now sisi tuko ready tufanye elections na ball iendelee.
Tumeongea na vilabu vetu na hizi vilabu zote tumekuwa nazo katika system ya 4 years. Tumekuwa tukirun ligi ya youth, ya county, ya branch, division 2 na most of these clubs ambazo zinapiga zinatoka katika hiyo system ambayo ilikuwa iko katika hiyo structure. Na tumekuwa na referees trainings, tumekuwa na coach trainings.
And it's a huge development today. 87-year-old former World Athletics president Lamine Diack has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for his role in a scheme that allowed Russian athletes who paid bribes to keep competing when they should have been suspended for doping. The guilty verdict in a Paris court represented a spectacular fall from grace for Diack, who was head of the IAAF from 1999 to 2015. The court also sentenced Diack to another 2 years of suspended jail time and fined him 500,000 euros, roughly 60 million shillings. Prosecutors had requested for a 4-year jail term and a fine of 500,000 euros at the trial in June. Diack was found guilty of multiple corruption charges and a breach of trust, but acquitted of a money laundering charge. The 87-year-old has been under house arrest in Paris since November 2015. Has definitely brought about lots of mixed feelings in the athletics world. Well, to football, and Everton face Salford in the second round of the EFL Cup tonight, aware that the prize for winning the competition has changed. The club lifting the EFL Cup trophy will no longer qualify for the Europa League, but the UEFA Europa Conference League, a new third tier of club competition coming into force in 2021. The Champions League, Europa League and the new Europa Conference League will consist of 32 teams each from next season. In select results, Tuesday, Bournemouth edged out Crystal Palace 11-10 on penalties, and Aston Villa saw off Burton 3-1. Well, this one definitely was trending on social media. The Denver Nuggets became the first NBA side to recover from 3-1 down twice in the same playoffs by beating the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 7 to reach the Western Conference Finals. Jamal Murray scored 40 points as the Nuggets won 104-89 to complete another stunning turnaround. The Clippers have never advanced to the conference final in their 50-year history. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat edged the Boston Celtics 117-114 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler scored the winning basket with 12 seconds remaining, and then Bam Adebayo blocked Jason Tatum's attempt to tie the score with just 3.7 seconds remaining, ensuring that the Heat drew first blood. Miami and Boston meet in Game 2 early Friday morning, East African time. That does it for sport. Much more tomorrow. Enjoy your evening.
NTV Sport in association with DSTV.
And DSTV gives you the best seat in the house. It's the thrilling rush to the UEFA Champions League final. Get connected to DSTV to experience every heart-stopping moment.
And that's the end of NTV Tonight, and indeed team coverage that was focusing on democracy. Thank you for your positive feedback, and thank you to the team that made this possible. Thank you to Flora Atieno for her co-presentation tonight. Have yourself a restful night and be safe. I'm Mark Masai.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Mwanaume ni bidii na kusema leo niko ndani. Kuangusha mistari na kudamini ufahari. Form Nigane, trust, study, ripped on my classic. Form Nigane, trust, study, ripped on my classic. Leo niko ndani. Trust.